在这个单元，让我们继续讨论如何利用对的问题，让我们跟老板建立更深的关系。Hello， 欢迎来到 Executive Plus 主管与沟通力的 Podcast。I'm Sherry, an educator, certified coach, and style enthusiast. 我相信专业有效的沟通是语言跟逻辑的完美结合。
And I'm Nick, a startup consultant, corporate trainer, and late-night gaming junkie. I believe great communication requires the right mindset and solid frameworks.
我们希望带给大家职场英语的技能、跨文化沟通技巧与其他能帮助您成为出色领导者的工具。
Join us each week as we share our experience, research, and methodologies to take your communication and language skills from good to great. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Executive Plus podcast. This episode is part 2, looking at how to get the most out of a one-on-one. Part 1, we talked about the different things like where's the company going, what's the strategy, and also how do my priorities or projects align with the greater vision or strategy of the company. Today, we want to jump into more questions that make a one-on-one more about building relationships, understanding the communication between employees and their bosses, and being more than just a list of tasks that you're handling that week.
Exactly. 那在今天这个单元呢，我们的问题会比较着重在于你要怎么在这个公司这个 organization 去寻求更多的一些机会，还有 how to get more support, how to get feedback on your performance. So today we're going to tackle all of these questions.
The first category that we want to cover in this episode is seeking growth opportunities and career advancement. Last episode, we talked about what are the different priorities for your job and also understanding what the expectations of your boss are. But let's say that you have your eye on a specific way to get up the career ladder. One-on-ones are a great time to ask about what are the expectations, what are the factors in consideration, and being more clear about what you want to achieve.
The first question you could ask is, I value your counsel. What can I do to prepare myself for greater opportunities or to pursue X interest of mine?
You could also ask, as you reflect on where the organization is going, do you have any thoughts on how I should improve or develop to best align?
The next one you can say is, what strengths do you think I have and how might they be helpful in the future?
Or, from your perspective, what should I be targeting as my next career move and why do you recommend that position? All of these questions really help go back to tying something we talked about before, which is what is the strategy of direction of the company, but more explicitly asking where you can find opportunities for growth. For example, that second question, as you reflect on where the organization is going, do you have any thoughts on how I should improve and develop to best align? Talked about corporate strategy, say the CEO vision for the company, or certain technology shifts. We've talked a lot this month about generative AI and ChatGPT, but that doesn't mean every company is really embracing this. So you may think it's super important, but if the company doesn't see that as an opportunity, maybe they're seeing something else, a different shift in the industry, a different shift in the sector, and they're really building around this direction. Knowing that and asking what you need to do to get in that direction is really important. The other thing that you can do is you can take your own interests, like maybe you're super into generative AI, and start thinking about, okay, if the company has these goals, here's what I want to do in order to get the most out of it.
What's really important about this is that staying proactive, right? A lot of times, I think your boss is probably thinking about something, 但是老板通常因为有非常多的 responsibility 很忙碌，他可能没有时间去 execute 或者甚至去提出一个 proposal， 他可能已经在想 但是如果你今天非常的 proactive, you're just straight out asking the questions that your boss is thinking about, that creates a really good impression for your boss. And he or she just be like, wow, I like this guy. Okay, you're going to actually lead this project that I'm currently thinking about. So I think you actually create a lot of opportunities that you probably haven't even thought of just by asking this question.
Yeah. One of the best experiences I've had recently with the team we're working on in our newer company is that a few times, like, we have a master project management list, and I've had a few things that I was working on in that list, and I've had people go, I saw that you put this in the list. Here are some things that I think are important to get that project done, and I've assembled some of them together. And then that became something where it's just like, if you're interested or you can do this, if you can lead that project, it helps me out a lot. And it's also an opportunity for them to show what they can do, right? As opposed to me going, all right, I need you to work on this. I need you to work on this. I would need you to work on this, which it may be in their interest. It may not be. But in this case, they've been like, I really like that. I want to do this thing. And now it's just like, great. I fully trust you to handle that.
Now, the next one is to just get feedback on your performance. Now, in HBR, they actually suggested don't ask this question every time you have a one-on-one, which I actually really agree. You don't want to turn your every single one-on-one to like a 360.
Yeah, it's not a performance review on a weekly basis, right?
No, it would not be very effective. But every once in a while, like, once a quarter or once every half year, you can ask this question. I think it's really brave to ask these questions about your performance. So you can say, am I meeting your expectation? I would relish learning your perspective on my work performance.
Or what feedback might you be able to share with me about how I'm doing at X or Y task?
Do you feel I have any spots I'm overlooking when it comes to A or B?
Finally, as you reflect on what I do at work, what should I start, stop, or continue doing?
I like the last question, actually.
I think the last one is really good because the last question, and I also think the second question, are more specific to what's happening now, right? Your quarterly, yearly performance review, that's an overlook at everything you're doing. But in some cases, like let's say you took on a new type of project, or let's say you're leading a small team that didn't exist before, or something you didn't have to do before. Getting concrete feedback about these tasks, because you can make adjustments in the middle of it, it makes sense, right? As Sherry said, this is probably not something you do every week, but to make sure that once a month you're headed in the right direction, or there's no like big mistakes you've made where your boss just hasn't had time to work it out with you, using that opportunity to be like, okay, in this case, what is going well? What do I need to kind of adjust?
Yeah. Now, the last question, I think it could even be a good question to start your one-on-one with. It's a general question because you're asking, what should I start, stop, or continue doing? It kind of covers the three categories, right? What am I doing that's I needed to push it? Or what do I need to start? Or something that really unnecessary right now so that I have to stop? Or something that I'm doing well that I should continue doing? So it does cover all these areas. So yeah, my suggestion is actually you could lead in with this question.
Our next category is about going back to build a relationship. You don't always have to be friends with everyone in your company, but you should be friendly. And it's always a good part of communication to get a sense of people's moods, or when they're in a good place or when they're not. And sometimes that just comes by asking.
Yeah, very simple question. How's your day going? I think as a manager, you really don't get asked this question that much, huh?
Yeah, probably not. Like maybe people ask it as a response. If you're like, oh, how was your weekend? They may push it back at you.
Yeah.
But, just asking that question, it's not something I would always do, but one of the things that you can really start to notice upon, whether it's manager to part of the team or a team member up to the manager. But just kind of like notice their expression that day. If they look very serious, you can just be like, hey, is everything okay? Anything I can help with? Right. Or if they even look particularly happy and be like, hey, you're really in a good mood. Like, you know, something fun happened recently. Everyone likes to share.
Yeah.
Right. So noticing their mood and even just paying attention to it and asking that question can go a long way to building a better relationship.
Yeah. So how are things going for you overall? Are you doing okay? What is something that you're excited about outside of work? Or is there anything that you would like to know about me? I think that's a really good question as well.
Yeah. And HBR does a good job of clarifying. It's like, if needed, you can prepare with, well, I'm not comfortable sharing that, but here's something else you should know about me. But allowing people to know you. Again, this doesn't need to be your best friend. You don't need to give away your personal, deep, dark secrets. But having a general understanding of, does that person have kids? Does that person, what kind of hobbies do they have? So you can just throw something out there and make small talk also a lot easier.
Yeah. Now, the last category, which is to offer support. Again, this could be at the very end of your one-on-one and you're just feeling like, okay, you're wrapping things up. It wouldn't hurt anyone for you to offer some support.
For example, just asking your manager, what are your priorities over the next few days? And is there something I can help you with?
Or where can I offer you my support?
Or that last question. And again, if someone has a very serious look on their face or they kind of seem overwhelmed, again, it's always good. A recommendation that's worked for us and that I really recommend is everyone's task list should be somewhat available. Like within the team, having a single project management board with what they're working on, including the manager. And then having that question of like, is there anything that's keeping you up at night? Is there anything that I can help with?
Or you can simply ask, is there anything that I can help you with to get things off your plate? I think everyone would like that support, and it just feels warm when someone asks me that question.
The complete list of all the questions we asked from the previous episode and also this episode will be found in the show notes. Definitely go through them. Think about these different categories. I wouldn't recommend, I think there's over 20 questions here, bombarding your boss in every one-on-one meeting with all these questions. But you can definitely think about, in terms of the next time you step into a meeting, what is the ideal outcome for you? What do you want to learn? What do you want to focus on? And selecting the few questions that really get you there. So your one-on-one goes from just reporting what you're working on to a real chance to have a better communication relationship with your boss and understanding of where the company's going. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
The Executive Plus podcast is a Presentality Group production, produced and hosted by Sherry Fang and Nick Howard. You can search us on Facebook, 主管英文 Executive Plus. You can also find us on Instagram, Communication R&D, and email us at sherry@epstyleplus.com.